Okay, good morning, Ka. How are you?
Good morning.
Hello, you can hear me, right? Okay, nice to meet you guys again. Um, Today I'm not going to check your names, but since today we're going to have the exercise, so I think there is no need to check if you're in class or not. But what I like you to do is open your face for like 10 minutes at least right now. So it will be recorded. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, just to make sure that you are here with me. Okay. Nice to see your live faces. It means that I'm not going to talk to myself alone. All right. I'm sorry for last week that I couldn't attend the class, but we will make it up to you. I'm not so sure when, but we'll find out later. Today, we're going to talk about the assessment of the resource potential. And it's going to use a little bit of your skills on mathematics, just a little bit. It's not that very difficult. So be prepared, and if you don't understand, just raise your hand or just break my talk and ask me to repeat to you again. Okay. Um, I'm recording this class today so that there are 4 or 5 of your friends that couldn't attend the class today. They have the kind of the schedule for vaccinate the COVID-19. So let you know that I'm recording this class teaching now, and I'm going to disseminate it in the line group. Okay. All right. So let me share the screen first. This PowerPoint, I already, I think, throw it to your line group in the PDF. So you can kind of download there and follow it if you don't understand it or you cannot follow my teaching. Okay, can you see my slide?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so today we're going to talk about the ecotourism resources and how to evaluate or assess the potential of the ecotourism resources, so we can develop the activities and ecotourism programs on the site that has potential. Okay, so before we go to the assessment of the ecotourism resource potential, the assessment of it, I'd like to kind of give you the overall picture of the ecotourism resources component and what we need to know about managing the ecotourism resources. Okay, first of all, we should know in terms of ecotourism resource, we should know the resource potential that we're going to talk today. Okay, secondly, when we have the resource potential ready, we should be able to determine the appropriate ecotourism activities, and that will lead to the ecotourism programming later on. Okay, this is the set of making the ecotourism activities and programming for the ecotourist. Okay, the second set would be how to control or minimize the impacts and how to manage the resource sustainably. Okay, the first one is we must know the environmental impacts and be able to monitoring and manage it. Okay, secondly, we need to determine the carrying capacity of the site. So we will know how many people that the site can accommodate. And thirdly, in terms of managing the ecotourism resources or ecotourism site, we need to do some zoning and also the site planning, as well as the landscape design. And finally, after we have the appropriate zone, okay, we need to develop the facilities and do the kind of the facility maintenance and management. And this is kind of the overall ecotourism resources that need to do. But unfortunately, this class, we have kind of, very short period of time. And the full options would be for kind of the graduate students in order to know the overall resource management. But in terms of you as the undergraduate class, I think as the beginner, probably you need to know how to assess the resource potential, and then need to know how to determine the ecotourism activities, as well as create the very good ecotourism program. And in terms of the resource management, in order to minimize the impact and control the impact to the resources, you will learn how to do the carrying capacity, as well as will learn the concepts of the zoning and then the facility development. And I think that's going to be it. Okay, then start with the ecotourism resources potential. Okay, before that, what we need to do to know is about the characteristics of ecotourism resources. I believe you still remember ecotourism characteristics well from what we learned 2 weeks ago. Okay, the slide showed kind of the concept and then the characteristics of appropriate ecotourism here. So let me kind of repeat it again, that ecotourism resources assessment must think about these characteristics, okay, which they are natural setting, biocentric, okay, and what it means by biocentric, it means biodiversity and nature are main attraction, and they can only include cultural resources if it is within and associated with a natural setting. Then the good characteristics of ecotourism resources should reflect the unspoiled, unique, and be accessible and utilizable. And second, the next one should have the carrying capacity in order to use them without impacts or with very, very, very low impacts. Okay. And also the ecotourism resources should have the potential of nature interpretation, high conservation value, and opportunity for local people participation and benefit sharing, as well as it should lead to conservation and environmental consciousness. These pictures on the slide will say well on these characteristics, okay, especially for the natural setting and biocentric. Okay. The pristine waterfall, elephants, birds, wildlife. These pictures taken in Khao Yai National Park, as well as the picture of Ban Pha Mon, the current community which their ways of life intertwine with nature and conservation practice. And the Karen community is located in Dorrington Road National Park. Okay, the third picture here. Now, when we're getting to know the ecotourism resources, what we need to know next would be the classification of the ecotourism resources. There are many ways to classify the ecotourism resources, but mostly when we find it in the literature or in the planning or even in the development of the ecotourism site, there are kind of two ways of classification here. Okay, one method or one way is classifying by the ecotourism types. Okay, why we use the ecosystem types for classification, because the activity or the program as well as the management of the resources depend largely on the types of the ecosystem, which have different tolerance, different I think sensitivity to the impact. In this case, very simple way to classify the ecosystem size. We put it into three groups together. Okay, first one is the terrestrial ecosystem. Okay, terrestrial ecosystem is the inland ecosystem. The second one is coastal ecosystem, is where the land meets the sea. Okay, it includes the beach forest, the what you call the mangrove forest, as well as the beach itself. And finally, the last ecosystem type is in the ocean, the marine ecosystem. Okay, and it has rich, I think, diversity there, especially you know, as Thailand is located next to the, I think the very biodiversity pool of, I could believe that, of the world. So these three types can accommodate the ecotourism activities, as well as when we use these resources, we have to be very mindful or very careful of how to manage it accordingly. Okay. Then we classify the ecotourism resources by the type of the tourism resources, which we can, for example, put it as the forest, okay, or cave, hot spring, wildlife, streams, rivers, beach, for example, and marine resources. So this is kind of classify the ecotourism resources by the use of the resources and by the physical characteristics of the resources. The classification this way used a lot for the ecotourism development, because we can use different type of resources for different activities. For example, for the cave, the ecotourism resources for cave is can develop can develop a lot of ecotourism activities. For example, cave study, cave exploring, okay, hot spring as well. We can both study how the geomorphological works, okay, as well as use it as the health or wellness of our body and spiritual mind. And I would say that in terms of our country, most of ecotourism resources are located in protected areas, especially in national parks. And you might already know that right now we have about 133 national parks gazetted right now. So already announced formally, and there are about almost 20 sites, I believe, or 20 units that are now in the process of gazetted. Okay. Those are very, very well, I think, pool of the ecotourism resources because they are well protected and they are very pristine, and as well as they can be able to manage for the tourism as the objectives of national parks are first conserving the biodiversity and their natural resources, and secondly would be providing the good recreation and tourism, and third is for studying and research. So in the protected areas, especially in the national parks, it's very, I think, appropriate for ecotourism to be developed there, and because it can help conservation of the natural resources and biodiversity, as well as it could enhance the visitor experience when they visit there. Okay. Then we can talk about the resource potential. What does it mean for the resource potential? It's simply the suitability of the resources for creating ecotourism activities or programs. So we must know our site, the ecotourism site or the natural site, if it is suitable for creating the good ecotourism activities or program or not. And in this way, we need to assess our resources, natural resources. Okay. Why we need to know about ecotourism resources? Okay, first of all, especially the potential of the ecotourism resources. Knowing potential of ecological resources within the ecotourism destinations is for providing the practical guidelines of the sustainable ecotourism practice. So when we know the potential of the resources, we know how to manage it, or we know what would be the appropriate or practical guidelines for using the tourism resources there. And as we know that ecotourism is a popular way to support the biodiversity conservation, especially in developing countries where we need to eliminate the poverty and we need to eliminate the inequity in our society. So this way, ecotourism can be, I think, a good opportunity for local people for them to gain benefit from the tourism. And it involves linking ecological preservation and local people's life, conserving biodiversity, reduce, as I said, rural poverty and achieve sustainable objectives. So in this way, when we like to use the natural resources for ecotourism, we need to know that if it's going to create any adverse impact or very bad impacts or not, and how to, if it's going to be the impact there, how we can manage it and how we can control the impact, as well as we need to know if the resources is appropriate or is a good chance for local people in order to manage it for benefit of the local people, as well as the last but not least would be the visitor experience there from our natural resources. Okay, so this slide would show the kind of relationship between the ecotourism resources and conservation through the visitors' experience. Knowing potential of ecological resources within the ecotourism destination is for, I think, providing the appropriate experience to visitors, which in turn, it can help raise conservation and awareness through appropriate interpretation and effective communication for those visitors. So they would have the kind of, the first-hand experience with the nature, as well as they will learn the importance of those natural resources. And when they learn how important it is, it can kind of create the kind of the sense of belonging to those natural resources and the change of behavior towards the good conservation practices. And the other, I think, the other chance that ecotourism resources can be would be the relationship between the resources to conservation through local people's life. Okay. As I said, that it's very popular method of supporting local community development, and in turn, it can lead to biodiversity conservation. So it links local people's life to, I think, conservation through the economic benefits and through the pride that they own or they have a chance to manage the very, very unique and significant resources in their area. Now, let's talk about how to assess the ecotourism potential. So the potential ecological resources in ecotourism destination is evaluated by using what we call the potential assessment and weighting score equation or weighting score method. In order to do that, we need to have contributory factors of ecological resources for ecotourism development. So I think the approach or the way to organize the idea of the ecotourism resource potential assessment is, first, we must have the idea what are the characteristics of ecotourism. And then when we know the characteristics, we can develop the indicators and also the criteria. And then using the weighting score method to determine the level of the potential of the ecotourism resources. Okay, so let's talk first about the indicators and weighting score. The way the resource potential assessment works is, first, we need to get the evaluation indicators. We need to get the indicators Okay, please note that the indicators must reflect the ecotourism characteristics. So how we get the indicators? Go back to the characteristic of ecotourism. Okay. Here, and use it as the checklist. Okay, in order to complete the kind of the overall indicators together, that we're not going to miss any characteristics, for example. Okay, so I'm not going to repeat this again. We already talked about it, but keep in mind that this characteristic is very important in terms of creating the indicators for the ecotourism resource potential assessment. The primary checklist will help us create indicators and criteria for evaluation. So make sure that first, okay, the site that we would like to assess the ecotourism potential is the natural setting. Okay, it means that nature are main attraction there. Okay, it should be unspoiled and unique and accessible, safe for visitors, utilizable, and low impact if we're going to use it, and also be able to deliver the ecotourism products that contain nature interpretation for learning purpose, high conservation value, and opportunity for local people to get involved. Okay, from that characteristic, here comes the indicators. Okay, and here I put like 15 indicators altogether, but I like you to look at them carefully and see if it cover the characteristic of ecotourism or not, or if these indicators missing some part of the good or the very important characteristic of ecotourism. But here, as an example, I put like 15 indicators all together, and we'll see that in this table, it has two columns. The first column is the indicators for ecotourism potential assessment, which should reflect from the ecotourism characteristics. The second column is the weighting score for each indicators. And what is the weighting score? Okay. Here on the second column, the weighting score is the score reflects the importance of each indicator by comparing each other. So we can get the weighting score by comparing the indicators together, all 15 of them. Okay, and in this case, I mean, for this class, I will set the weighting score to be 3 levels, okay, as it is the kind of easiest way to determine it. Okay, so when you already master of these 3 levels, you can upgrade yourself to, to set the weighting score like 5 levels, 10 levels, and with different methods of getting the weighting score. But here at the beginning, we should start with the 3 levels. And 3 levels of weighting score are this. Score 1, okay, means low significance of the indicator. 2 is moderately significant, and 3 is high significance. So each indicator would give 1, 2, or 3 of the weighting score. Okay, and if we feel that, or when we think about the characteristics and the goals of the ecotourism management, think about it and trying to put down the weighting score by comparing the indicators together. Okay, so you can rank it mean, from 1 to 3, that's the easiest way to do it. For example, if we feel that the uniqueness of the site is very, very important or significant indicator, is the most significant, for example, just this example, is the most significant indicator in order to determine the potential of ecotourism resources. So give it 3 because it's the, the most important one from 1 to 3. But if we find that the uniqueness probably is not that important, probably it has kind of low importance compared to other indicators, other 14 indicators. So give it 1, for example. So in this way, you will see that the weighting score coming from the comparison among the indicators. And the best way to compare these indicators together, like systematically comparison, I'm going to use the what we call the pairwise method in order to compare the importance or the significance of each indicators together. So again, the weighting score that we get here would be relatively in terms of each indicators. So it's not going to stand alone. So for example, if the indicator 1 get the weighting score of 3, it must interpret that it has the top significance or the highest significance or importance indicator among the 15 one. Okay, it's not going to be 3 alone by themselves. Okay, so it has to compare to other indicators in some way. Okay, now let's talk about in details how to determine the weighting score. Okay, first we compare the resource or site against the determined criteria. Okay. And let me go to another slide. Okay, here, I'm sorry. How to determine the weighting score. Okay, there are, as I said, there are several ways to do it. But here, I will use what we call the pairwise method to give each indicator the weighting score. Okay, in order to do that, okay, we need this table, the matrix, I will call the matrix. Okay, the matrix of the indicators. Okay, so column 1, we have indicator 1 to, actually it should be 15. Okay. 1 to 15. The 15 is the opportunity for local people. It's just, drop out from the slide. Okay, and from column 2 towards the last one would be meaning the indicator 1, indicator 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, and go on, okay, until 15. So 1 represent the uniqueness, 2 would be the attractiveness, for example. Okay. What we mean by the pairwise method. Okay, the pairwise method, the pair mean comparing 2. Okay, 2 for each comparison, 2 indicators for each comparison. So we're going to compare 2 indicators 1 at a time. Comparing 2 indicators 1 at a time. Okay, for example, I will compare indicator 1, the uniqueness, with the indicator 2. Okay, I'm going to compare the uniqueness, and there's my mouse. Okay, and the indicator 2. And please note that the slash 1, okay, the slash 1 here I think Zoom has the, hold on a sec. It has the mouse. Can you see my mouse? Okay. My students, can you see my mouse? My mouse? Not my
It's
mouse.
delayed.
yes ค่ะ แต่ว่ามัน
โอเค
แหลกๆหน่อยค่ะ
มันแดดหน่อย โอเค
มันช้าหน่อยค่ะ
นะคะ มันเป็นเพราะว่า because my net is probably not good. Okay, so you will see here that if I going to compare the indicator 1 uniqueness with the indicator 2, okay, and I can compare one at a time, uniqueness with indicator 2, and then uniqueness with the indicator 3, and go on. Okay, the slash one here means, for example, we cannot compare by, itself. So uniqueness and uniqueness cannot be compared. So I give it as a slash. Okay. You see all the slash here. 2 and 2 cannot be compared. 3 and 3 cannot be compared. Okay. Okay, and then see the sign, the symbol. Okay, here. The easiest way to do is because we have kind of 3 levels of weighting score, 1, 2, and 3. Remember? So compare, for example, you can compare the uniqueness with the second one, the indicator 2, attractiveness. Okay. What we find is, for example, I give the uniqueness more important indicators than the second one, the attractiveness. So I give the sign of the more than here at the column of the indicator 2. See it here, right? Okay. And when I compare the indicator 1, the uniqueness with the indicator 3, the popularity, okay, you will see that I give the sign of more than here. So it means that I think that the uniqueness is more important than popularity here for the ecotourism resources. And when I compare the indicator uniqueness, number 1 to the indicator 4, the ecotourism diversity, okay, only diversity, I find that the uniqueness is less important than the ecotourism diversity, because the I think that the most activity, ecotourism activity has to depend on the diversity of the ecosystem. Okay, so I put the sign less than here on the indicator 4 and 1 matrix here. Okay, comparing the uniqueness to the number 5 indicator, number 5 is the ecosystem richness. Again, as the same, I think, same reason as the comparison of the uniqueness to the ecosystem diversity. I find that the uniqueness is less important than the ecosystem richness. Number 6, uniqueness and opportunity to see wildlife. I find that the opportunity to see wildlife is more important than uniqueness. Okay, interestingly, let's see number 1 compared to indicator 7. Okay, uniqueness and landscape quality. Okay, I put down the equal sign here, and because I think that it's the same importance. Okay, and so I just go on like this, think it, compare it, pairwise, so one at a time. And then we will find out later on if, you know, each pair is less important or more important or equal important. And we can translate that into I think the number, okay, relative number 1, 2, or 3. Okay. So let's do the second indicator as an example. So when we compare the attractiveness to the uniqueness, okay, what we find here, we find that the attractiveness is less important than the uniqueness. Okay, and check it out carefully, because when we compare the first indicator here on the first row to the indicator 2 here, we give it the uniqueness is more important to the second indicator, the attractiveness. So it must be, you know, kind of corresponding to each other. It cannot be conflict. I would say that if you give this as the more significant here, it should be less than, okay, for example. So we will do this until all indicators are compared with this pairwise method. Okay, so we're going on and on and on to compare, you know, the two indicators at a time until we finish comparison for the 15 indicators together. Okay. And just to check if you understand it. Okay, if you have any questions here. Silent. So it means you understand it. Okay. All right. So let us do the exercise here. You'll see that I'm not doing it or, you know, until the end of the, you know, of the indicators here. So what I like you guys to do is you have the file, the PDF file. So take a look of that if you cannot see it clearly here. Okay, but if you see it clearly here, I like you to kind of copy down all the indicators. Okay, copy down this matrix and, you know, do a little exercise here. Okay, give the logical thought of the comparison of the. Hi, I'm sorry. My cat. Okay. The slides go back. Hello. Okay, I'm sorry. My cat just jumped into my computer. Okay, so here is the exercise. Okay, copy this matrix. Okay, and think carefully, comparing the indicators together, and give the sign. Okay, fill out all the little matrix here. Okay, the cells here. Okay, and we will go back in 20 minutes, I think. Okay, so give you some time to think about it. So compare it and see if it's more important or less important or equal important, for, you know, go one by one here. And when we go back, we will talk about it and see, compare it if we think most of the class think in the same way, or if we are thinking in different ways in some indicators. Okay, and after that, I'm going to show you how to kind of transform the already, more than sign, less than sign, equal sign into 1 or 2 or 3 of the weighting score. All right. So any questions about your exercise here?
We get to choose our own destination, right? Or is it?
It's going to be kind of the template for all destinations. It doesn't have to be, for each destination. That's going to be the rating score, for the next step. But here, we're going to give the weighting score for the indicators. We're going to use these indicators for all ecotourism destinations, no matter, what destination is, all right? Actually, if we go deeply onto, the method of giving the weighting score, we can kind of divide the ecotourism destination into kind of 2 types. The first one would be the kind of the very, very green ecotourism destination. And the other one would be, ecotourism that very close to the nature tourism characteristics. But here, for the simple thing, okay, just give only one ecotourism destination as the ecotourism, okay, in general. Any questions? Okay. So I guess you guys are now doing this exercise, right? Okay. I'm going to check back to you around 10:10. Okay. 10 minutes past 10. And see if it works out. Okay. All right. If you have any questions, just, ask me. I'm sitting around here, not going anywhere.
อาจารย์ครับ that means each person has different like criteria in selecting the
Rating score. Yeah,
Yes.
the significance. Each person would have their own perspective or their own opinion on that, but it should all the same or almost the same, because it would, control with the concept of ecotourism and the characteristics of ecotourism. Yeah.
Thank you ครับ
อะไรอืมถึงแม่อยู่ด้วยนะเดี๋ยวไม่ใช่อยู่ในห้องนี้ด้วยนะออกไปข้างนอกเลยนะเล็กแม่จะสอนหนังสือ โอเคค่ะ Are you done?
No.
Three
Not
more.
yet. Okay, you need a little bit of time. Okay. How about we're going to give a break right now too, and let you have time to finish this exercise of as well. So how about we'll go back around 10:40, okay? And if you couldn't finish the exercise now, just do it and break it at the same time. And we'll come back at 10:40 in order to see, how we think about the weighting score. If we think the same, criteria, or we have the different perspective. All right. So see you in 10:40. Okay. Hello, I'm back. Are you okay with the exercise? Hello. Okay, could you please open your faces again? Thank you. Yes, thank you. All right. Okay. Now, let's take a look of what we got here. Let me share the screen first. Okay, ค่ะ the extra thing that I put on this matrix, besides my rating of the weighting score, is about the grouping of the indicators. And can you guess how could I group this kind of indicators together? I put it like 3 groups, and indicator number 1 to 11 are in one group, and then 12 to 14 another group, and the last one have only one indicator. Anyone would like to guess how I group it? Hello. Okay, let's take a closer look of the indicator number 1 to 11. What are those indicators means to you? Ignore all the score behind. It's just my summing up. So uniqueness, attractiveness, popularity, diversity, richness of the ecosystems, opportunity to see wildlife, landscape quality, ecotourism activity, appropriateness, activity, diversity, local climate, and accessibility. These indicators seem to reflect what the visitors or ecotourists are looking for. Or another word, it would say that these indicators kind of measure the visitor experience that they can get if the quality of the ecotourism resources contained on those indicators. Okay, so the first group is grouping by the visitor experience that they probably would receive from these ecotourism resources. And the second group, now probably you can guess easier. It relates to what concept? The first concept is the quality of visitor experience that should be met by these ecotourism resources. And the second group is reflecting the concept of environmental conservation, or the quality of the environment. And you can you follow me? Okay. Except the indicator 14, it can come up to to be the kind of the goals for the ecotourist in terms of visiting the ecotourism site as well, for the learning purpose. Okay, interpretation is learning. Okay, and the third group involves in the third concept of ecotourism is local people life quality. Okay, so I kind of grouping of this because I'm going to give you kind of the kind of the background rationale of my rating. And for example, if you take a look of my partial rating here for the weighting score, you will see that I give the most important to the indicators in which group?
The last group, the second group, sorry.
Yeah, the second group. Okay, the second group, because the second group, there's the indicator 12 that has plus of the the more significant one, right? 12 over 15. and the rest would be 11 over 15. Comparing to the first group, okay, I give less importance to the visitor experience, and this is probably would be in the perspective of the resource manager. Okay, like me, I'm from the Faculty of Forestry, so I concerned a lot about the impacts and how to manage the impacts. And I don't want ecotourism to be, you know, the kind of has the adverse impact on the natural resources, especially in the protected areas. But if you are coming from the marketing side, for example, from tour operators, which you need to kind of create or develop the best ecotourism program, probably you would interest in giving the, you know, the score, the rating score on the first group, for example, that you would like to kind of, you know, attract the ecotourists to come here. This is kind of, you know, something that I'd like you to know as well, because there's one student asked me before that the rating score of everyone should be the same or not. And I just come and think about it one more time. And it turns out that probably not. It depends on which group of indicators you give more importance on your, I think your career or your objectives of ecotourism management there. Okay. And if you are the local people around the protected areas and would like to have ecotourism as another or alternative incomes, probably you would give the group, the third group, indicator 15, the most important thing. Okay. So here it is. So I group it, okay, from my perspective that I'm so aware of the importance of the ecotourism resources in terms of the impact management. And as well as secondly, I really give the attention to the local people's life and benefit they would gain from ecotourism. But I give less, I think less importance on the visitor experience, but I also give the importance on the number 14, okay, opportunity for interpretation. So the learning experience is the most experience that I think is the most important experience that ecotourists should get when they visit the ecotourism site. Okay. All right. And let's see. So no matter what, your rating of the score here, okay. And I think how would we go from there? Let's see your rating score and see how it compared to the others here. Who else is with me? กิตติพักอยู่กับครูไหมคะ You with me, กิตติพัก
อยู่ครับอาจารย์
Yes, okay. How's your giving the rating score? What is the most important factor that you given here?
Sensitive to environmental impact.
Okay. All right. Okay. So almost the same as me. How do you give the kind of, you know, how do you know that this important is very important from your kind of comparing the pairwise comparing of the indicators? You look the same as I show you that I count the sign, the more than sign. If there are, you know, how many of the more than signs would show that is more important than the others, right?
Right ครับ
Okay, right. You understand what I'm trying to explain, right? Okay. So for example, for the sensitivity to environmental impact, if you count the more than sign here, I mean, from indicator 1 to 15, and you would kind of -1. Okay, so deduct 1, that is this indicator itself, so it's going to be 14. Actually, it's 12 under 14, not 15. Okay, so if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, you get the kind of, the 12 under the 14 if you're not going to give the, the weighting score of your the indicator self here, number 12 here. Tourism carrying capacity. I mean, from my weighting score, I count 11 from 14. Okay. Here. So this is what you give the most important, right? Deepak. What is the least indicate the least significance of the indicator that you give here for you?
Accessibility.
Accessibility. Okay, all right. May I ask the reason why?
Oh, in my opinion, I think it's the least because people really don't care about accessibility. If they want to go there, they just go.
Okay, you mean ecotourist, because this is going to do it for the ecotourism, for the ecotourist. So ecotourists, most of them would not give the importance to the the accessibility. I mean, if it's kind of difficult or hard, it doesn't matter for them as much as if they be able to be there, and then they can absorb the richness of the ecosystem, or the ecosystem diversity, for example. Okay, but accessibility would be very, very important to general nature tourism. Okay, because they're looking for I think the convenience of getting there more than the experience they would get if they were there. The accessibility also means about the physical accessibility. So it means that if it's really has the high potential site, okay, if it's rating afterward as a high potential site, accessibility can be adjusted, I think can be improved, okay, as well, because it's kind of the physical thing that we can, modify or we can develop later on. All right, good. Ariya คะ Ariya, you with me?
ค่ะ
What is your most significant one indicator?
I think tourism carrying capacity.
Okay, number 13, right? Tourism carrying capacity. Okay, may I ask why?
Because in their destination, we should limit the tourists. So tourism carrying capacity can affect the landscape quality. So I think it is important.
Okay. So the carrying capacity, if in this case for the ecotourism side would be ecological carrying capacity. So normally it would go, hands in hand with the indicator number 12. Okay, it doesn't mean much on the physical carrying capacity, which concern about the area that can, accommodate the ecotourists or the visitors, but more concern on the ecological impact. Okay, all right, and what is the least significant indicator here for you? Aryaคะ There is one.ค่ะ. Say it again, please.
attractiveness ค่ะ
Attractiveness. Okay. Why?
I think because tourism is it isn't popular to person too much, so I think attractiveness is important.
Okay. Okay, so in your opinion, the attractiveness of the site probably would be very important in terms of the ecotourism experience for visitors or for ecotourists. Okay. All right. Compared to other type of tourism, for example, like nature tourism, probably the attractiveness would be more important for them than the eco-tourist people. Okay. All right. So what I'm trying to do here is trying to you to kind of give the reason or the explanation behind your answer of the of your weighting score. Okay. Then let's go to the next step. How we can convert the sign, I mean more than sign, less than sign, into the score, the real score, the weighting score. Okay, remember it's kind of the relative score, right? Okay, because we compare among the 15 indicators. And what I'm doing here is that probably you already seen that is the number of the more, okay, more significant than other indicators sign. And I counted, okay, I counted the frequency or the number of the more than sign that each indicator have here from your rating. Okay, and then I put it over like this 15 indicators, but actually you can put 14, but it doesn't matter as long as the overall indicators are the same. But if you put like 11 under the 14 or 12 under the 14, or whatever number is for your numbers of the more than sign that you count, the next step would be that you need to convert it into the percentage. Okay, the percentage. All right. For example, like 12 from the 14, what would be the percentage of that? It's about 85.7. So from this, you would get the kind of, the percentage. Okay, from indicator 1 to indicator 15. The uniqueness, for example, for me, it's 3 over 14 is 21.4. So you get the number of the percentage for each indicators. Okay, the next step would be convert it into the scale from 1 to 3. Okay, so what you can do is, okay, you have to get the interval of the I think the level of the weighting score. Okay, so first for the weighting score 1, okay, the least importance or the least significance, the number would run from 0 to 33.33. percent. Okay. And the weighting score 2, okay, means that the second importance one, okay, is from 33 to 66.67. And the last one, the most significant one, would be more than 66.67%. Okay. Now you can convert the weighting score from kind of this mathematics. Let me, any question on that? You need me to kind of, do it for you manually? Okay, for example, my indicator one, can you see my notes here? Okay, is uniqueness, right? And I get the score of the, what I call it here, the more than sign. Out of 14 indicators. And as I said to you that we can minus 1, deduct 1 out of 15 because we're not going to count its own indicator here. Okay, so it equals like 3 out of 14. And we convert it to percent equal . ได้เท่าไหร่คะ How much is that?
21.4, around that.
21.4, good. Okay. 21.4. All right. And you do it until indicator 15. Right? Okay, here. And I will do the indicator 15 again. It's local people benefit. Okay, so the more than sign.เมื่อกี้เท่าไหร่นะ11ใช่ไหมโอเคค่ะ it's 11 out of 14 so we're going to convert it to percent. How much is that? over 14.
78.57.
Okay, so about 78.6. Okay, good. All right. So we will have for each indicator is kind of percentage. Now, what we do is we're going to do the interval of the weighting score. Weighting score. We have weighting score from 1 to 3, right? And 1 means the least important. Okay, so this is kind of the meaning of our weighting score. So what we need to do is trying to convert the 100, okay, into the interval under this kind of the score. So it would be like yeah. This is my scat note. Okay. This is kind of, I would say that the how to do the interval. Okay, how to calculate the interval. So the interval would be the max, and this is the mathematic interval. The maximum score minus the minimum score, and then over with the number of the level or the ranks that we or the interval that we want to have. So the max is 100. The mean is 0 here. It's going to be over 3. Then the first one, the least indicator would run from the minimum to the interval is to 66.67. 66.68. So what we get here. Okay, now let's take a look of the first indicator that we get the percentage. We got 21.4, so it's going to be on the level one. Which one? 1, 2, or 3?
1.
1. Okay. For like the indicator 15, 78.6. So it's going to be under the weighting score 3, right? ใช่ไหม ใช่ yes. Yes. So in this case, you would have the weighting score for each indicator, right? Any questions on the how to calculate the weighting score finally? มีคำถามไหมคะ
อาจารย์ครับ can you explain more about the interval again? I didn't catch
Oh.
here.
Okay, sure. Okay. All right. We have the 3 levels of the weighting score, right? Level 1, 2, and 3. So it means the level that we need to do the interval is 3. Okay, 3 levels. And the interval can be calculated by the equation of the maximum score minus minimum score here. And the maximum score here from the percentage that would possible is 100, right? Okay, why it's the 100? It can be the 100 if the indicators get the more than sign 14 out of 14. So we have the kind of, the percentage of 100. Okay, the full percentage of 100, right? And the minimum score is 0 because if any indicators cannot get any more than sign, so it would get 0. So the equation of the interval, meaning that you will have the maximum score, which is the 100, okay, minus the minimum score, which means 0, okay, and divided by 3, which is the number of the levels that we would like to kind of to get the weighting score. Okay. Then when you put this, you calculate it, it's going to be the interval going to be the 33.3, okay, altogether. And you would start at the minimum, okay, here the range, the minimum score would be 0, right, as I said. And the first level would be, 33.3 because the interval is like this. And for the weighting score, number 2, okay, the number 2 level mean moderate significance indicator, it would count from 33.3 plus. In this case, I put 33.31 until, and you just, plus the interval of the 33.3 here. Okay, and actually it's going to be here. 3. And if you plus the 33.34 with the interval, the 33.33, it would be 66.67. Okay. And the last one is from the 66.67 forward to 100%. Which means that it start from 66.68 until 100%. Okay, so here is the how to do the interval. If the weighting score, your weighting score has not only 3 levels, but for example, if you have 4, okay, this is just if you an example. In this case, for example, I give 4 level of weighting score, and level 4 is very high. So here, what we have to do is we have to change with which number when we calculate the interval. The max score
3.
still the same,
3 to
right?
4.
Minimum, right?
3.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yep. And then here would be 25, right? 25, right? And the range here would change to 0 to 25, and then 25.1 to 50. And then 50.1 to here. And you have 4 rank of the weighting score here. And the interpretation of your score here will change, right? Oh, it's not change. Okay. And here, that your weighting score is no more 3, right? It's going to be 4. If you're using the 4 level of the weighting score. But we're going to use only this now for your exercise.
อาจารย์คะ
Yes.
the maximum and minimum is always 100 and 0, right?
Right, for the percentage here.
โอเคค่ะ
ค่ะ right.
อาจารย์คะ
ค่ะ
ขอถามเป็นภาษาไทยนะคะ คือว่าอินดิเคเตอร์ค่ะ ต้องดูที่เครื่องหมายมากกว่าอย่างเดียวใช่ไหมคะการที่
Yes.
จะคำนวณออกมาเป็นเปอร์เซ็นต์ดูแค่มากกว่าอย่างเดียว
ใช่ค่ะ
อ๋อขอบคุณ
จะ
ค่ะ
ง่ายที่สุดค่ะ เอางี้แล้วกันดูแค่ค่ามากกว่าว่ามันเยอะขนาดไหน if แต่ค่ามากกว่ามันเท่ากันก็ไม่ต้องสนใจเพราะฉะนั้น your percentage would be the same, right? And it's going to convert into 1, 2, or 3 level anyway. ค่ะ Okay. Any questions, sir? You are great. Yeah. Okay. Very easy ใช่ไหมนะคะคราวนี้ let's stop share here and share this back here นะคะ It's okay. So now we're going to move on to the next slide for the resource potential indicators criteria. We only get the weighting score. So the next step would be to get the actual rating of the potential of the site. Okay. The weighting score that you receive, you can put it in this this slide or this table. Okay. Now let's talk about the resource potential indicators criteria. So after we settle with the indicators and weighting score, then it's about time to give the resources the score of by the criteria. So we get the we're going to give the rating score by the criteria. But before that, we need to construct the criteria of the indicator first. So in this case, we will use the Likert scale. Okay, I hope you can, you probably would hear about this method before. It's the social science method of ranking, okay, the Likert scale method. So we can give each indicator a ranking from low potential, low, moderate, and high potential. So here you probably would notice that we have two levels of the rating score of the ecotourism site or ecotourism resources. Okay, the weighting score, back to the weighting score, we have 3 levels. But here for the rating score, okay, that we would evaluate it, the indicator against the criteria, have 4 criteria or 4 levels. So no potential, low potential, moderate potential, and then high potential. Okay. Then we can compare the resource of site against this determined criteria for each indicator. The score that we get we call the rating score or the R. Okay. I would give you the example of the criteria. Okay, here, sorry, it's in Thai, but just to get you an idea how to get the criteria. But the you see the score level 0, 1, 2, 3 means that 0 is mean no potential, 1 is low potential, 2 is moderate potential, and 3 mean high potential. And each would have kind of the explanation or the description of the each criteria under each indicator. Okay, but if you don't have the description of the no potential of the uniqueness or very or low potential of the uniqueness, or go on to the 3rd level of the uniqueness, okay, which is high potential. It doesn't matter, but you have to kind of communicate to the people that give the evaluation together with you. Okay, the evaluation of the resource potential cannot be done by only 1 person. It needs to be done at least 3 persons. Okay, in order that we can eliminate the bias of the evaluation. Okay, so here 0 means the destination has no uniqueness. Okay, and it probably would be known under the kind of local level. And the score number 1, the R number 1 is the destination that clearly has no uniqueness, clearly, but probably we can have it or is well known under the provincial level. Okay, so the description would go on like this, and normally it needs to have some kind of research to do it, or it has to construct under the kind of, the description that would clearly distinct from level 0 to level 1 and level 2 and level 3. And here is kind of the result of the research that we did long time ago, that construct the criteria of each indicator. For example, this is the attractiveness. So it's kind of have 4 levels, 0, 1, 2, 3. And each level would have the description of each one, or have the criteria of each one. And it will go on. You can take a look later on here. Okay. There are like 10 together that I put it as an example for you. Okay, but remember, we have not 10, right, indicators. We have here 15 indicators. So it means that for your assignment, the first assignment, you have to think of the criteria, construct the criteria accordingly for the rest. Okay, so we have 10 already. You need to construct criteria for 5 indicators more. Okay. Okay, so what we would do next when we have we construct the criteria for each indicator, we're going to we will go to the actual site that we need to assess or evaluate the ecotourism potential, and we will go one by one indicator to see what criteria would be the most matching. Okay, for example, if you are going to Hill Suwat waterfall in Khao Yai National Park, okay, who else can visited the Hill Suwat waterfall before? Who else in class besides me? วรินทร์พลเคยไปเขาใหญ่ไหมคะฮัลโหลวรินทร์พลวริศพล You still with me วริศพล Yes 2 yes
Actually, no. I never been there before.
You never been there before. Okay. Who else been to Khao Yai? Identify yourself, please. ไม่มีใครไปเลยเหรอ Okay. So I have to do it by own. Okay. In case, for example, Hill Suwat waterfall, if you have chance after the COVID-19, go there and see if you give the R score the same as I give it today or not. Okay. For the Hill Suwat waterfall, I would say that it's been well known in terms of the number 3, okay, because it's in World Heritage Site and a lot of international tourists visiting there. Okay, so I would give the R score would be number 3. And in this way, you are, I told you to have your ecotourism destination in your mind that you visited before, or you very, have the information, information on the site or on the destination. You have to kind of rate your ecotourism potential on each indicator. So make your decision what level for each indicator would match the most or reflect the most, I think, the quality of your site here. And as I did before, I said that Hilsuwat waterfall for me, I would rate it as the potential number 3, the highest one. Okay. For the second one, the attractiveness, I would say that, well, for me, Hilsuwat compared to, for example, Chilosu waterfall or Hilnarok waterfall, I would say that it has rated under second score, for example. So you have to go like this one by one. And finally, the score that you give would be the last column here. We call it the rating score. Okay, that you would rate from 0 to 4. Okay. So for the uniqueness, for example, this is my mock-up number. So it's okay. So I just kind of quickly give the numbers. It might not represent the actual situation or actual potential here. And the W, the weighting score, it would rank from 1 to 3, right? And for example, the uniqueness is around number 1, ใช่ไหม? This is the mock-up number as well. So don't use this number, okay, under your assignment or exercise. Okay, here. So this is kind of the given number that I use the mock-up number to just to show you how to calculate the ecotourism site potential. Okay, so now we can have the indicator score. You still see my slide, right? Okay. ใช่ไหม? Can you see it?
ครับ
And you okay, and you all already seen the number that I given into the slide as well, right? Okay.
อาจารย์ครับ I mean the right column, the rating score, it's 0 to 4. I'm not sure where it's from.
There's
Where's
0
it again?
here. Okay. For example, the activity diversity 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So it comes from the kind of the actual property that site have. Okay. For example, if you go to what is your ecotourism site that you would like to give the assessment or evaluation คะ?
Let's say เกาะเสม็ด
Let's see.
แหลมแม่พิมพ์ National Park นะครับ
โอเคเกาะเสม็ดนะคะเกาะเสม็ด เกาะเสม็ดเป็นหาดทรายขาวไหมคะ
ครับผม
นะคะโอเคหาดทรายขาวนะโอเคถ้า if it is the หาดทรายขาว in เกาะเสม็ดโอเค for this ความหลากหลายของกิจกรรม so you look at the ranking score here it's the rating from 0 1 2 and 3 and each would have their own description right or criteria being 0 means that it has very low potential and it can participate in not more than one ecotourism activity. Okay. And one would be like not more than 2 activities and go on. Okay. So you have to kind of look back at your ecotourism site, the Hat Sai Khao, and you must have the information that right now how many activities we can do it there. I mean, ecotourism activity ด้วยนะ it's not just any activity. Okay, and then compare it. Okay, what would which one would be the most, I think, correspond to the actual property, the characteristic that you have in your site. ก็หาดทรายขาว what do you think? Can you do it more than 4? Or you can do it only 3?
I think more than 4.
More than 4, okay. So give me those activities. First,
So
ha,
so basically we have to like situate it as like a destination and we rate at our next exercise, right? I mean the current one.
right, okay. The very exercise today, right? You have to, first you have to choose the ecotourism destination of your own and make sure that you know the kind of information enough to give the score, the rating score. Okay. So, and then you give the, the rating score and the weighting score you already done, with the class today, right? Okay. For example, I mean, หาดทรายขาว I would say that it might be for me number 2 because it's overdeveloped from my perspective. But someone might give the number 3, like if I was a child, like 15 years old at that time, I would give it 3. Okay, ranking 3 for the description of the very pristine, very outstanding landscape. But now the landscape just not as good as it used to be because there are too many development on the beach, for example. So you have to go and give the score here against the criteria. Okay. And understandable? เข้าใจไหมคะ Hello? Okay. I have no answer back. So I guess you already understand it. Okay. Let's go back to here. This is kind of mock up number. So the rating score here would change by destination, right? Okay. If you rate what like Kilsuwat waterfall, the number here would not be the same as you rate the หาดทรายขาว at เกาะเสม็ด Okay, now. Okay, next step would be using the weighting score equation to calculate the ecotourism potential here. Okay, the easiest way to do is, okay, this is kind of the equation is just very simple. It has the weighting score of indicator 1 multiplied by the rating score of the indicator 1 and sum from indicator 1 to indicator 15. Okay. And then divided by the sum of the weighting score. Okay. And the easiest way to do this is to construct the kind of the table like this. So you will have the weighting score here. Okay, here. And then what you would do is you would sum this, okay, or the 15, okay, and put here. And the rating score, as I said, if you have the rating score that you rated for your own destination, put it here. And the last column would be the weighting score multiplied by the rating score. Let me give the example. If my weighting score is 1, the rating score probably if I give it 3. So W1 multiplied by R1 would be 3, right? Okay, if number second, the attractiveness, the weighting score is 2, and the rating score 3. So W2 multiplied by the rating score 2 would be how much?
6.
Yes. 6. Yes. Okay. So do it like this. ไปเรื่อยๆ Can I give สมมุตินะคะ it's just mock up andโหดร้ายมากเลย to grow to give the landscape quality. Okay, so here we can calculate the W multiplied by R. 2 multiplied 3 is 6, 4, 6, 2, 9, 1. It will be easier if you do it in Excel. Okay, now what you would do is you would sum this and give the number here. Okay, let's sum it.
Ajahn, the criterion we can use it from the Thai version that you have given, right? And I mean, it doesn't cover 15 of the indicators, so we have to
Construct by yourself.
Okay,
Yes.
so okay.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, I have all the 15, but it's just the exercise for you to learn how to construct the criteria. So 5, let's try to do it. Nah. Okay. So the 8. Andนี้22. Okay, now let's we have the sum of the WIRI equal 48, and then sum of the WI is 22. So let's go back to this equation. So it means that we 48. 48 divided by 22, right? Yeah, 48 is WIRI, and then sum of the W would be 22. Okay. So it would equal to 2.18, and you have to interpret this if it is no potential or low or moderate or high. How could you interpret it? Is it in high or moderate or low? How would you do that? We do the interval again. Okay. Now, tell me how to do the interval calculation. We would like to have how many levels of the potential that you like to have? How about 3 levels? Okay, we have 4 before, right? 4 levels. Okay, and the minimum number is 0. Yes, the max number is
100.
4. No. Here, that forget about that. That is the calculation of the interval for the weighting score that you have the 100 best calculation. But here, okay, you have the minimum number is 0. Yeah, 0. See, and the maximum number you have here is 3. Okay. So the calculation would be divided by how much?
4.
Yes, by 4. So it's going to be ใช่ไหม? This is the interval. So when you go to the no potential, okay. So now can you tell me what would be the level of the potential of this site?
Moderate potential.
Yeah, moderate, right? 2.18. Yes, here. Okay. So this is how you would evaluate or assess the ecotourism site potential. Now, this is our last slide, but let me stop sharing this. And what I'm going to share next would be the exercise. I'm not so sure if I only throw this into the group line or not, but if not, I'm going to do it after the class. This is going to be your first exercise, and it would be easy. I think the simple one. Okay. What you would do is the first step, trying to get the indicators and rating score that you already learned from today. Okay. And then second, get the indicators criteria. You already have like 10 criteria already. So there is like 5 more that you have to construct by your own. Okay. And third, you assess the rating score for each indicator using the ecotourism site that you select. Okay. For example, if you select Hill Suwat waterfall in Khao Yai National Park, just give the name of the ecotourism site. Please do not select the kind of very large site altogether. For example, please do not select Khao Yai National Park as your ecotourism site. So select each destination, the smaller one, not the the overall one. Okay. Then calculate the ecotourism site potential using the rating score method and present it in the class to the class next week. Okay. All right. We have like 30 plus people, so it probably would be impossible to get everyone for the presentation, but it's going to be kind of the randomly select of the very lucky ones to come up and show their results and explain about their ecotourism potential. All right. Any questions? Yag mai? It is too difficult or it's okay?
ยากค่ะ
Yag lo? Okay, try it first and see how it comes out. Okay, all right. And you find out probably it's not that difficult. Ha.
Can I see the last slide again? I need to take a picture of it.
อันนี้ใช่ไหม okay, again, this is kind of the kind mock up นะคะ สมมุติ
Excuse me, the it's only Microsoft Word on here. The PowerPoint didn't
Oh,
come.
okay. You like to see the PowerPoint, right?
Yes.
Just a second. Okay. Yeah. I can, put it in your line group as well. I mean, for the newest version.
The
just in
28.
case. The 28. Okay.
Yes.
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณครับ
ค่ะ You need it in large screen or not?
Thank you ครับอาจารย์
ค่ะ ได้นะ โอเคค่ะ Okay. So it's kind of a little bit late, but anyway, don't worry, if you're going to do it wrong, or you probably not sure if it's right, because it's the exercise. It doesn't mean to relate to your grade actually. And I just want you to really know how to evaluate it, assess it. Okay. In case that if you graduated and you have to do this and you'll be able to do it. Okay. So do it and we correct together next week. Okay. Okay,ไหมคะ? Any questions?
Can we do it in Excel คะ
อ๋อได้ค่ะ อ๋อ I forget to give you the Excel for it ได้เลยค่ะ but okay you have to make sure that this is rating okay okay but you have to be careful a little bit about the here because the potential level here it's calculated from only 3 level not 4 that we use it as our exercise so don't worry if you use the Excel here it could help you until you know the row 37 okay right but for the interpretation of this of the potential row number 38 and yeah row number 38 it wouldn't help you because they just you know work on the I think the formula on only 3 levels okay and I will put this on your line group as well but at least you have to know the kind of you know the information that come out how we can come up with the potential average potential here okay. And be careful also that the indicator probably wouldn't be the same as your exercise so pick up only the indicators that is relevant to your exercise and also you know add more on that okay. But if you want to do it in Excel on your own so feel free to do it okay but yeah, give me the kind of the result can you just you know when you give me the result use the here please give me this table okay so I will know what would be the behind numbers that you come up with the ecotourism potential okay all right okay and give the kind of you know the summarize of your ecotourism destination as well like only one paragraph just to let me know or you know the kind of the description of your ecotourism site okayค่ะ. Any questions now? Are you hungry?
Very.
Very okay. Me too. Me too. Okay, so next week we're going to move on to we're going to see your presentation about the ecotourism potential and then move on to the calculation of the carrying capacity and it's going to be the most difficult I think classes altogether and the rest will be very simple very easy for you so be you know don't be you know so อย่าใจเสียนะคะค่ะ okay see you next week then and if you have any questions any issues that probably you cannot you know finish your exercise because you don't understand something, just let me know, okay, through the line group or through my individual line. All right. Okay. Have a good lunch and see you next week. ค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีค่ะ
สวัส
ขอ
ดี
บ
ครับ
คุณค่ะ
สวัสดี
ค่ะ
ขอบคุณ
ขอโทษ
ค่ะ
ที่ overtime หน่อยนะคะ
ไม่เป็นไรค่ะ
จ้า see you next week นะคะ
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์
อาจารย์คะ
ค่ะ
เรตติ้ง
ว่าไง
ส
คะ
กอร์นี่คือแบบใช้ความคิดของเราเองเลยใช่ไหมคะ
เรา rating score ต้องประเมินจากสภาพความเป็นจริงของแหล่งที่เราเลือกอะค่ะ ว่ามันมีคุณภาพในแต่ละอินดิเคเตอร์เนี่ยอยู่ในระดับไหน ตรงมากที่สุด
ตรงคือ
เออ
มันไม่ต้องคำนวณเหมือนเรตติ้งสกอร์ใช่ไหมคะ
ไม่ต้องคำนวณค่ะ แต่ว่า
อ๋อ
ต้องมีข้อมูลของแหล่งที่หนูจะประเมิน
ค่ะ
ค่ะว่าแหล่งนั้นมันเป็นยังไงอย่างเช่น attraction เนี่ยแบบโอ้สวยงามสุดๆอะไรอย่างเงี้ยนะคะก็ประเมินไปว่าถ้าสวยงามสุดก็คืออยู่ในระดับ3อย่างเงี้ยหรือว่าไม่สวยงามเลยก็อยู่ในระดับ0แต่ต้องมีข้อมูลพวกนี้ค่ะ
อ๋อ
ในการ
ค่ะ
ที่เราจะเรทหรือให้คะแนนได้ค่ะ
อ๋อค่ะ
แต่ว่าไอ้ที่ครูทำมานี่ครูคิดเอาเองเฉยๆด้วยความรวดเร็วนะคะ
อ๋อ
อันนี้ยกตัวอย่างให้ดูเฉยๆค่ะ
ค่ะ
จ้า
ขอบคุ
โอ
ณ
เค
ค่ะ
ค่ะ
สวัสดีค่ะอาจารย์
ค่ะ